Hello everybody, my name is Poison Ducky Prez, and today I'm going to have another Tomb Kings versus the Skaven match. I'm going to be playing as the Exiles of Nehek, the specific sub-factions within the Tomb Kings, and we're going to be going against Clan Skyer, another specific sub-faction of the Skaven. So it's sub-faction versus sub-faction. Who's going to be better at specializing and killing the enemy army? Now over here, I'm going to have the front line of, well, 2 units of Tomb Guard. Tomb Guard, very good. 50, light, medium-ish armor. Like 50 is like acceptable, but not quite there. But silver shields and pretty good combat sets with 37 melee attack and 46 melee defense. It's very powerful. I don't think they're getting... Actually, they're getting buffed by one of my Lord's abilities, which increase by... How much is it? By 5 each, so it's actually 32 melee attack and 41 melee defense, but nonetheless very solid combat stats and can hold on, essentially really good at holding the line. Now in my center line, it's a line of 5 units, so my center 3 is just going to be normal skeleton spearmen. Nothing too crazy, very cheap. Spearmen have high melee defense, so they last a long time in melee combat and have a decent anti-large bonus against like light cav, but don't really... The only thing that's large in the enemy army that could possibly spearmen would be good against would be like rat ogres, but my opponent didn't bring any. And in the center, I'm going to have the Regiment of Renown King Kesh's Scorpion Legion, which are essentially just spearmen, but they have poison and better stats. And the poison is really good at just stopping their aggression and reducing their offensive stats, so it takes forever to cut through the Nikesh Scorpion Legion. Now I'm going to have another skeleton spearman here, and on the flanks I'm going to have a Tomb Guard. Now I'm going to pause this here. I run this strategy because a lot of people run their army so they have their normal swordsmen in the front, and then they have spears on the edges. And what happens, Tomb Guard being good against spear units, you put your Tomb Guard on the edges, and you put your spearmen in the center just in case they try to do a breakthrough, and spearmen are very good at stopping that. Now, past the center, in the back line, I'm going to have 2 units of normal skeleton archers. Not going to bring the Regiment of Renown this time because Skaven usually don't have that much armor, and I really don't need armor sundering unless they bring like a lot of Doomflayers. But skeleton archers just to give a decent amount of pressure just in case, to stop some gunners, slingers of that nature. And I'm going to have quite a numerous cavalry force. I'm going to start with 2 units of skeleton archer chariots. Now these guys are going to be high mass and just push through enemy units, and they have ranged attacks just in case like he had like, I don't know, just the ranged attacks are nice because they just do a little bit of poking constantly, which is nice. I have 3 units of Nekahara horsemen. Now these are anti-infantry melee cavalry, so they can fight in melee and do just fine. They're actually really not meant to cycle charge nearly as much as other cavalry. So I have 3 of these, so this is going to be a pretty big impact in the disruption of the Skaven army. Let's go back to paused here because I think I'm moving a little too fast. And I'm going to have 2 units of skeleton horseman archers. Now, horseman archers are just a really good unit because they have mobility and range. Essentially, 1 skeleton horseman archer is about half of a skeleton archer unit in terms of like firepower, but you've got the mobility of horses, which is nice. 76 speed, not as efficient as the Illyrian Reaver archers, I would say, but still very good at just slowly whittling down the enemy army. Now, all the way in the corner of the map, I have in Vanguard deployed are 2 units of Carrion. Now, Carrion are going to be my flying disruption units. I don't have bats today. I'm not playing as the followers of Nagash, so I'm going to have to settle for the vultures of the Tomb Kings, hiding and skulking in the forest, ready to jump on unsuspecting rats. Now, my general is going to be Grand Hierophant Katep. He's going to be a fantastic caster. Lore of Nekahara, heals the entire army every time he casts, and he's pretty cheap, at least compared to Cetra. Cetra is a very big money sink, and if you just want a cheap lore that has both the Nekahara spellbook and some abilities to make sandstorms, then Grand Hierophant Katep is the one for you. And of course, Grand Hierophant Ketep being a very squishy leader, I'm going to have to bring the Tomb Prince to be his bodyguard. He has Guardian. Here's my Tomb Prince. He has Guardian and is very good at just defending lords. So he's just going to be eternally defending my general. Now over here on the, oh god, look at this warp stone. Just, oh, you can even see the little ball. Over here on the Skaven side, this is a very interesting unit in terms of deployment, how he positions his units, but on the edges are going to be 2 units of rattling gun weapons teams. They're literally just chain guns or heavy machine guns attached to 2 Skaven, one like carrying the back ammo reserve and one with the front holding the gun and aiming it. Essentially, these things destroy every form of infantry in the game. If you get shot by this, or you'll get mowed down. Like it's like a Last Samurai charge, as Turn would say it, I suppose. And defending his flanks, he's going to have 2 units of Storm Vermin with halberds, one over here to defend his ranged units, and 1 unit of Storm Vermin with sword and shield to just defend his Plague Claw catapult. So he has just a big unit of chaff ready to defend. On the right, so he has let's see here. So 2 units of halberds, 1 unit of Storm Vermin with shields, and a Doom Flare in the center, accompanied by Ikit Claw, the mad scientist himself, driving the mighty, mighty Doom Wheel. And you can just barely see him inside of there, the maniacal little rat himself. And of course, the range firepower of like artillery, he's going to choose the Plague Claw catapult. Pretty powerful, very good against infantry, but I find that decision odd considering a lot of the Tomb Kings bring giant monsters. So I'd probably go for the Warpstone cannon if I were him. And he's going to have 2 Plague Monks on each flank. So he has a very balanced build. So anti-infantry, frenzy, very high damage dealer, but not very good against armor. And 2 units of Poison Wind Globadiers. Just in case, they're anti-large, very good against large units. So I suppose that is the anti-large component along with his halberds. But after introducing those armies, let's see how we engage. So over here, I can definitely see that he has the range advantage and that I need to move forward. And unfortunately, the Tomb King infantry are not known for being fast. They're actually known for being quite slow. So I send over my cavalry to do some light skirmishing, and as the Rattling Guns weapon teams are mostly anti-infantry, they're 100% efficient against my horsemen, but they shred anything, regardless of what it is. Like, look at this. That's 25% of the health of that archer unit in just a few... There, 33% of the health of that archer unit in just a single volley from the Rattling Guns weapon team. Sorry about the weird coloring. I'm not sure why, but this map was extremely dark. Now I'm going to have my Carrion come in from the flanks and disrupt his weapons team. And he's going to do a smart decision here, and he's going to move his weapons teams into his halberd units. So I have to take out the Carrion, and it stops me from really disrupting it. But of course, on the right, my Nekahara horsemen are going to get in the back line and charge into the Rattling Guns weapon team. I have the mobility advantage here. And my Carrion, and with a combination with my Nekahara horsemen, are going to charge in, take out, disrupt his gun lines, and make sure he does not get the full potential of his ranged firepower. And I'm going to send in my... Ooh, look at these skeleton archers. Look at those chariots. Pushing straight through a unit of Storm Vermin and going into the unit of Plague Claw catapult. Very efficient. Oh, God. Now he's going to use the Brass Orb and a bunch of his spells to try to stop my army's advance as I push through his lines, but it's going to be... It does a lot of damage, but he's targeting my Skeleton Spearmen, which are definitely not the priority units in my army. Seeming to have some sort of FPS issues here. I wonder why. But back in the back line, I'm going to use the Carrion again. His back line is ruined. Look at this. He's got units over here on the right flank, units over here, units here. So many units that are spread out instead of covering each other. The whole point of using Skaven guns or Skaven like ranged units is that they cover each other. If you attack one, Skaven ranged unit, the other one will shoot the unit attacking it. But because of how scattered and how like rowdy they are, they can't cover each other, and they have been compromised. As you can see all the way here in the back line, actually both the Rattling Gunner teams got almost no value and are going to end up fighting Carrion. And they're just going to flee straight off the map, which is a very big value train for me. My Nekahara Horsemen on the right will be fighting some Plague Monks. Plague Monks are anti-infantry, and Nekahara Horsemen are cavalry, so instant routes from the Plague Monks. Now I'm going to have this archers shoot into the Plague Claw Catapult, and look at this. The front line is doing well, everything's going all right, I have healing, and here comes the Mighty Chariots. The Mighty Chariots of the Tomb Kings coming on the dawn, and here goes the... And that's going to almost instantly rout them. In fact, they're already shattered. A little bit less dramatic than I thought it would be, but it was still a good charge nonetheless. Audio's going to have a lot of problems. I'm going to have to check over that. Now, Ikit Claw is going to charge, and it seems every single match I choose Grand Hierophant Ketep, Ikit Claw essentially just goes full... Like, well, not Ikit Claw. Every single opponent I fight always tries to snipe my lord, as their lord almost is more powerful than Grand Hierophant Ketep. So I'm going to get my leader, push through my units to get out of Ikit's Claw hold, and get my Tomb Prince to engage in melee combat. Now, Tomb Prince is anti-large. Ikit Claw is a large entity, as when he's in the Doom Wheel, and the Tomb Prince is going to do a big number of damage on the enemy units. And it's at this point, I have too much of a lead, and the leadership of the Skaven has never been known to be good, and everyone starts to rout, with only really Ikit Claw being left back alive. There is a unit of Plague Monks on the left fighting Tomb Guard, but I use a Ushapti summon that the Tomb Guard's at, and combined with the charge of a Skeleton Archer Chariot in the rear, that's a lot of dead rats. Only thing left being Ikit Claw, and let's see how his Doom Heal does. He's going to charge into Ketep, but I'm going to make sure my units are there to support him. And Archers coming in, Carrion coming in to hold him down. That's going to be the end of that replay. Now let's look at our unit efficiencies. Alright, as you can see here, Grand Hierophant, I didn't use any of his offensive spells in this game. He's using most of his spells to just increase the weapon attack or weapon damage of his units, so no kills. Mostly he's been running away from Ikit Claw the entire game. Tomb Prince didn't get only 8 kills, but his entire role was to defend Grand Hierophant Ketep and fight Ikit Claw, and as he's only one model, you wouldn't expect that many kills, but the Spearmen did well. Did their job, held the line as they should. Tomb Guard did well as well, 52 kills, 49 2 kills, especially against the Storm Vermin army that the Skaven chose. It was nice. The Archers, they had much more armor than I expected, and the Archers weren't completely effective, so very few kills, but they did do HP damage. Now, the MVP of my army was definitely the Nekahara Horsemen and the Skeleton Chariots. While they don't have that many kills, well, 42 and 52 is 26. That's a good, decent amount. These units disrupting their back line, making sure their ranged units can't get an attack, support their front line is pretty crucial in stopping the Skaven plan of just beating how they beat most other nations, or not nations, sorry, factions. I've been playing a little bit of Rise of Nations, sorry about that. Skeleton Horseman Archers did their job, just screening out, doing little increments of damage against their lightly armored Plague Monks, which is quite nice. And the Skeleton Archer Chariots doing their job, as I stated earlier, disrupting the line and just plowing through enemies. Another nice highlight was the Carrion. I just love Carrion. The ability to fly and just go over the front line and do whatever the hell they want was quite nice. Now over here on this side, he actually had quite high kill numbers on Ikit Claw, 108 on his Doom Wheel, 21, 54 on the Plague Monks, 48, 26 on Storm Vermin, Sword and Shields. He had a very balanced build. I just don't like Poison Wind Globadiers. A little too short range and a little too easy to get like your hands on. They're kind of like javelins from the Norska faction. Doomflayers did all right, but actually they didn't do it well at all. Only 2 kills, and they just kind of got stuffed. They got crammed in with a bunch of cavalry and spearmen, and they couldn't do too much. Now, the Plague Claw Catapult did do very well. 83 kills, but unfortunately those 83 may look nice. It's against spearmen, so not the best. Like, most important unit of my army, spearmen, are definitely on the complete bottom, actually. So thanks for watching, guys. I hope you liked the video, and leave a like and subscribe if you want more. I'll catch you guys later.